There's still life in the old Walking Dead based on season 3 of Daryl Dixon, thanks to the show moving the action from France, where it spent seasons 1 and 2, to Spain, and a newly reunited Daryl Dixon, played by Norman Reedus, and Carol Peletier, played by Melissa McBride. The third season feels fresh, fun, moves along at a brisk clip, and takes full advantage of the Spanish setting, as well as the inspiration of classic spaghetti westerns. Picking up where season 2 left off, Daryl and Carol headed to England, ostensibly on their way home to Ohio, the long way around, and it's not too much of a spoiler to say that things don't quite go as planned, and they end up in Spain instead. It's also not too much of a spoiler to say, if you've seen any Walking Dead series before, that they end up both embroiled with a local community, and that things with that local community are not quite what they seem. It's the tried and true formula of the franchise that has led our heroes taking down the baddies and taking over location after location in multiple episodes, seasons, and Walking Dead series. But what showrunner David Zabel and company did effectively in season 2, and continue to drill down in season 3, is the title character's emotional journey. And though she's no longer the title, R.I.P. Book of Carol, our female lead gets an emotional arc as well. The most surprising part, though, is that Zabel finds new territory to mine with these 15-year-old characters. Daryl has flipped from waffling about leaving France in season 2 to trying to figure out why he's always on the run, paired with recurrent flashbacks to his youth. And Carol, after having a dream sequence reconciliation with her dead daughter in the season 2 finale, has a new lease on life that only becomes livelier once she finds a spark of romance again in Spain. The scripts parallel their journeys, with Daryl focusing on the past and Carol focusing on the future. Unlike the frequent criticism of Walking Dead as a nihilistic slog, Daryl Dixon season 3 not only floats the possibility that there may be hope out there, but it makes it a palpable possibility. For a decade and a half, that sort of happy ending has felt a million miles away, or would be tantalizingly close, only to be snatched out of the grip of our heroes. But with the franchise whittled down to 2 final seasons of Daryl Dixon and 1 season, maybe more, of Dead City, giving these characters closure for the moment seems like it could be a real thing. And with that comes earnest, bright performances from both Reedus and McBride, who are, as usual, never better than when they're together. There are other cast members, though. Stephen Merchant guest stars as a delightfully quirky Englishman who gets them started on their journey and sets the right light tone for the season that has a fair amount of fun between all the zombies and other assorted more human danger. Eduardo Noriega as Antonio, a man who takes our duo in, is an earnest romantic lead opposite Carol, and while it might make the Carol shippers bristle, there are real sweet sparks between the two. Oscar Yaneda also makes an impression as Fede, the morally questionable leader of the city which houses Daryl and Carol. But the real standout of the new cast is Alexandra Masange as Paz, a character who seems custom designed to drive the internet and cosplayers mad with envy. She's a Spanish cowboy wearing a long brown duster, a wide-brimmed hat, who fights as well as Daryl, and also just happens to be a lovelorn lesbian. There's a real slow burn throughout the season before her character comes to the forefront. All 7 episodes were provided for critics, but once she does, she has the sort of iconic look and disposition which would have been right at home on the mothership Walking Dead series. What separates Daryl Dixon, though, is where and how the show is shot. Versus the Georgia setting of the main series, shooting on location in France and now in Spain with Spanish film crews gives the series the distinct flavor of spaghetti westerns, which is what it's aiming for. And the show wears its influences on its sleeve, as Antonio is a not-so-secret cinephile who teaches Carol about the cheeseball arts of the genre. Daryl, though, was born for spaghetti westerns and not so surprisingly cuts the perfect figure of the gruff, usually lone wolf, longing to get out of town as quickly as possible, while slowly coming to like the populace and begrudgingly helping them. The camera work does occasionally veer into travelogue territory, and we once again get a Daryl Dixon motorbike spectacular this season, blurring the line between the Walking Dead and AMC reality series Ride with Norman Reedus. But mostly, it's beautifully filmed. And the Stranger in a Strangeland vibe feels palpably different in season 3 than it did in seasons 1 and 2. The zombies, too, as usual, continue to be strange, weird, scary, and surprising thanks to Greg Nicotero and his crew, who have never stopped innovating for the past 15 years. Look, innumerable articles have been written over the years about the death of The Walking Dead, and it's more possible than ever that the end is actually near. But with TV as fun and emotional as Daryl Dixon season 3, here's hoping it keeps shambling forward, at least for a little while longer. The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon season 3 premieres Sunday, September 7th at 9 p.m. on AMC and AMC+. Let us know what you're looking forward to with the series in the comments below.